All right, welcome back to Atlanta. Okay, nah, it's not about Atlanta, it's about fame. I'm here with the host, the creator of fame, Paris. And I'm the minor question guy that can't seem to ever get a podcast out. Chris, CJ, Julian, whatever you want to call. I'm that guy. Misunderstood prophet over here. Today we're here having another good chat about Atlanta culture and how to grow and just having nice introspective conversations about our life experiences. And today is my turn to actually try the intro. And I have to say I did a half bad job.
Half bad. That's how you know at least you're honest.
Yeah, no.
Where's the enthusiasm? Come on, man.
Where's the enthusiasm? Okay, let's go, guys. Because you know what? You got to show the work ethic. And you see what I just did there?
Did you say
Work ethic.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I think I could pronounce the word ethic.
I'm not worried. Oh, I thought you said worth. Ethic.
Well, today we're going to be talking about worth because that's what the episode of Atlanta was all about. And everyone, from popular demand, we finally got that episode. We got that Lottie episode. Lottie, trying to be like one of those child superstars. And some of the undertone, I definitely want to say the Boondocks did it first, but Atlanta explained it better. And we were exploring I'd like to say black culture is one of the most popular people, Tyler Perry. But in this episode, let's just call him Mr. Chocolate. Remember Mr. Chocolate?
Yeah, that was just weird.
Don't worry, I got a fair question for you because I got surprises for you. But
you remind me of Charlie's Angel.
With the room and with the whole setup.
Yeah.
No, it was a really good episode. Honestly, I found that the episode explored something first. Everyone got to see Lottie grown up, and everyone's like, "Where's Lottie this? Where's Lottie that?" Because Ern and Van is supposed to be this. Because people are like, we want to see healthy black relationships and everything on television, and I agree. But I like this across the 4 seasons of like this narrative of like exploration of seeing like, okay, who you are as an individual, who are you as a father or a mother, and then who are you guys together. And I think that's something that we get to kind of explore a bit more here with Van. Where Van, one minute she's a mother, I forget what name she said to the one guy when she didn't like the guy. She's like, "Oh no, my name's I'm just gonna say Karen," or something like that. And the other guy's like, "Okay, all right." And then when like the call producer says like Van or Vanessa, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta go," and the guy's just like, "Oh, so you gave me a wrong name." And I know a lot of women out there have done that. They've given the wrong number before just to de-escalate the situation and everything else. But like right there, you definitely saw Van being a woman saying like, "I'm not interested in you."
Yeah, which is necessary a lot of times because I've seen a few times or heard a few times where a guy's just been overly aggressive, and it's tough being a female. I can't speak for one.
Yeah, can't speak for one.
The thing is, I mean, it's already intimidating sometimes. Someone who might be able to overpower you, or you never know what that person might be capable of, or you come off too aggressive. Now it's just like I'm in a situation where I'm not interested, but no isn't seem to be receptive.
Yeah.
So now you gotta
you gotta say like yes, but in a no format.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, gotta give them a fake number. Or some guys where they might do something where you're like, "Oh, let me call it right now to make sure it's a real number," type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's pretty tough as well. So some guys get very upset about stuff like that. But I mean, I think for a second, put yourself in that position. You have no idea what that person might be feeling. So if they tell you no, just chill out. There's more. I think there's more women than men in the world.
I believe so.
I think the world has more people. So there's somebody out there, man. If one person you like or you see interested, it's not into you.
See,
leave them alone.
This is the funny thing. So here's the thing. Everything that you say is 100% right. Not going to devalue it. But then there's the other side from the male's perspective where like I feel males don't get taught how to deal with rejection from a young age and handle with it.
True.
And especially in today's generation, like, okay, all right, I'm on the dating app, so I know, and I've done the research, I've listened to the podcast. I'm not an expert, but by the sounds of it is that like this top 20% of men, I think this was the candy shop analogy. I think I've used either here before or somewhere else. But basically guys that have like access to money, like, the creators, the influencers, those types of people that have like some clout or status, at least this generation of women like acknowledge and want to be a part of because they want to, be on the yachts, they want to be on the traveling, everything. We're looking at Instagram and everything else. It's sucking up like 80% of the women from the market. So now,
these guys have all the women?
Well, I'm not saying, but all the women's attention is given to that 20% of guys. And then the rest of the guys here, it's more of like, well, Johnny over here has a yacht. What you got, Jim?
I see what you're saying.
So like when, let's just say Jim was the guy that was hitting on Van in this situation, Van's looking at him like, "Jim, what you got to me? You got nothing. I'm going to give you my fake name, Karen." So I can understand that. Like there's almost this now flip side now of arrogance. I'm saying this is just a different situation, obviously, from what Van is. But like some guys will get into those situations and they'll be like, well, I mean, I have to go make 6 figures now just to have the attention of, Lauren down the street or something like that.
But sometimes women just aren't interested.
Yeah, no, and I
It
think
has nothing to do with what you have. I mean, nowadays social media kind of makes it to a point where people only show you their good side.
yeah,
They
yeah.
only show you their happy moments. They don't show you when they're going through things.
Well, no, they do. It's just that
Some people do.
they do the professional. They're like, sorry, right now I'm here today to all our followers and everything else. I went through something very traumatic right now. Like that's the presentation. They try to be professional, you know.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, who made that? I think it's Dion Cole. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the stand-up. He was like, you know, Instagram, make it hard these days for everyone, man. You know, sometimes, you know, there's some guy at work, seeing people popping bottles on yachts, going on vacation.
Yeah.
And he's sitting in his cubicle going, there's got to be a better way. And it's actually true. Everyone has smartphones. We're more connected, but pretty intimate more than ever.
Yeah.
But yet, as far as like physical, emotional, like intelligence and stuff like that go, we're the most disconnected people so far in history. Because people don't like to go and meet up anymore. They just send you a message.
Yeah.
People don't even like to call you anymore. They send you a text.
Oh, I'm
Send you
uncomfortable
WhatsApp.
with calls.
And voice. I'm not so uncomfortable, but sometimes for me, voice is much easier.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, you just lose that connection. And then when
So
COVID happened, it's like it put an even wider gap on people because you couldn't see people for a long time.
So I'm gonna double down on that. I'm gonna ask you a personal question. Out of like these four, which would you rank them as like to like communicate with someone? Like let's say like an acquaintance. Text, voice note, you said another one. I was gonna say video and then phone call. So out of those four options, like this is just an acquaintance. Let's just say acquaintance would work.
Video is great because at least you're talking to the person, you can see them and see how they're doing, you know. Because sometimes you might have a conversation with someone and you think they're great, but really they're not. A lot of times your expression shows more than what your voice can tell or what you say. So, but of course, the problem with video is it's not always like the go-to thing.
Yeah.
You might be just talking to someone, maybe in the washroom, yeah, video calls. Well, you shouldn't. You should call someone from the washroom.
I'm sorry, Ferris, but I can't make it.
Yeah, I might be on the train, going to work or something, so I might send you a text. Or I might call you a bit because my phone works in the tones a little bit. Sometimes it cut out, but it works for most of the part. So I might call, but then that might not be it. So then I might maybe do voice notes. Text message, what I like about text messages is you can get to it when you get to it.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And for me, the reason why I usually always answer people back is because if I can't answer, I just won't open it. Because if I open it now, I'll message him back. There's a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
They read what you're saying, I'll message him back later. And you don't hear him for like 3 weeks. It's like, just answer or just check it when you can.
So I have an answer from that. So for me, when I send text messages back and I'm communicating with people, I don't like having notifications. Like for me, like it's the equivalent to how some people want to have like a 0 email. Like you don't want to see like 1,000 or whatever high number.
I do that too, but I check it mainly when I can. I don't mean like I'll check it from like 2 days and it's just like 10 notifications.
You're gonna check it within reason. Like what do you think is like the appropriate amount of time? Like let's say
it depends.
Let's say I text you. What do you think is the appropriate time like you would respond in? Like,
it depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, if I'm at work or something, I'll message you when I'm on break or lunch or something. If I'm at home, maybe I'm with my son, we're doing something.
Yeah.
Or, it just depends. But I would say no more than a couple of hours. You should.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some point in a couple of hours you can look, hey, yes, no, or whatever. Unless of course you're sleeping.
Yeah.
That's the only other thing.
8 hours of sleep. Very important,
Yeah. Other than that, that's about it. But in this episode, I really like the fact that it also brought up a very good point in parents being supportive of their kids.
Yeah.
It's actually such an amazing, and I wonder like where kids can go if they have their parents support in certain things.
Yeah.
But sometimes, some parents, they just don't, and again, it depends on like what they've learned growing up. It's just, go to school, work really hard, get really good grades, top grades in your class, and then find a really great job, and then that's the only way out type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if like sometimes like you hear about parents who will sell their homes just to pay for the kids to go to like Triple H hockey and stuff like that. And a lot of times it's just they tried it, they didn't make it, and they feel now their kid has to make it, so they push their all into it, and that's great, but a little unhealthy in some point.
Yeah, because it creates an unhealthy environment. Like I like what Van was doing for Lottie in this episode, where she was trying to show Lottie like, hey, I'm just want to try something new. Once again, Van's trying something out for herself. And like this once again comes to that duality of like, is she a mother or is she a woman? Can she be both? Can she find a balance? And right now I know you're still part of that journey. Like, are you a father? Are you a man? Like you're doing that on your side.
Yeah, say I'm all of it.
You're all of it. Amen. Jeez, man. This man unlocked the bar, now he's 200%, 100% man, 100% father. I see it, bro. 200%.
Hey, being a parent is a full-time job, but it's not a job if you love it. You don't make it seem like a burden.
Yeah.
It's not a job if you don't feel like, I have to sacrifice this. It's just the natural order of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't want to be a parent, you don't want to sacrifice stuff, you don't want to put this aside, you don't have to go through certain things, I just say you shouldn't be a parent.
Thanks, man. I need that advice.
Yeah, no, because a lot of times, like parents may get upset at you with certain things.
Yeah.
And they make you feel like you were a burden the whole time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's just like, this came with it. This was part of it. All the time I thought you were being a parent, I was being a burden. I didn't know that. So it kind of just makes some people feel less than. It kills your motivation sometimes, your drive. It definitely affects your relationship. Sometimes kids don't even want to be there. Like, your kids should always want to be with you. Your kids should always want to check on you, see how you're doing. They should always want to, come home, spend time type of thing. It should never be like sometimes you get that one person where it's just like, or you go to a family event,
yeah,
they're there type of thing. It's just like, it should never be that way. Mm-hmm. But when you should never, it's like, what is the good? Tell me something. What is the good that comes from telling your kids all the stuff you did for them?
That's a really good question.
There is none.
All that's just saying is like, okay, like all those things, and I hate to use this word, but you, as a parent, as me as an outsider looking at the parent, I expect you to do all these things for your kids because that's the necessary thing for your kids to grow.
And some parents do go over and beyond.
Yes.
Which is appreciated, usually. But a lot of times you should be able to tell when someone appreciates something or not. A lot of times as soon as something goes wrong or, you don't do something the way they expect you want to or in a certain time.
Yeah.
The first thing they say is, oh, you don't appreciate nothing. You guys don't know what it's like. You're right. I don't.
Yeah.
So if you think I don't, maybe you should teach me.
Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of minority parents, they don't teach kids.
You don't.
Like, for instance, go ahead. No,
with all that said,
yeah,
it is understandable that sometimes a lot of ways that we deal with each other, like we were talking about broken, cycles, is stuff that's passed down. So it's like going back 50 years ago, this person didn't teach this person. This is what they knew. And it's just passed down, which is understandable. But at some point, when do you say, yeah, this wasn't okay, so I got to change?
I think once again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to pull out one of my favorite words, curiosity. I think if the parent submits to the idea that they don't know what they need to do, because, you know, as a parent, you're looking at a blank canvas and you're watching this kid just absorb information.
Yes.
And I have a little future sight knowledge than you do, but there's one thing that I really like about what I feel like Atlanta's going towards, one of the themes, and it's something that like I've grown up with, where like I almost developed like a sixth sense with things, and having that ability as a child, because a child pays attention, anything that you do, anytime, like I feel like parents are ignorant sometimes, where they're like, we're grown adults, so we're talking this language, the kid doesn't understand this, but language is literally only 10%. Like right now, to the audio listeners, they're only going to hear our voice, they're only getting 10%, but they're watching the video, for instance, they're getting the full thing, they're seeing us like moving our hands, everything else, it's telling a story, a different, like the tone, and as you were saying, like the facial expressions and everything else, kids pick up on that subconsciously, and then they determine like, is this good or is this bad? Is dad sad? Like, dad's shoulders are hung over, that means he must be really tired, but then like he's yelling and he's throwing like all these different types of tantrums. And the thing that I think is very important is like when you're raising boys and girls, I think is to pay attention to both those signs. Yeah. Like that's the other thing. I'm gonna go back to Van, being hit on, for instance. Okay, like when we're looking at little tone signs, I think it's important for guys to know this, because I think if a guy knew that a girl was disinterested in him, he wouldn't approach. But because we don't teach them this, guys have to learn the hard way when they're older. And then like you literally like, I have friends, and I have been that guy too, where like you don't get a hint. For instance, like. Funny enough, I'll bring her up. We were in the wedding, remember? We went for one of our boys, Joseph.
A few days ago, man, I was like, I keep forgetting to ask you how she doing. So what's going on? I don't like that.
I haven't messaged her because I've been busy with a gala. I've been honestly busy with work.
See, this is another reason why girls get so upset. You're too busy with other stuff, you can't message her. See?
No, I'd like to say that we ended it very good with an open ending for opportunity to message back. It's not my fault that she's halfway across the country right now.
So what does that mean?
What that means is right now I'm not going to willing to pick up my life to go to Calgary. I got a podcast to record and also put on my podcast right now. And job and life, and
one thing COVID taught is you can do almost everything from home. So there's no excuse.
Yeah, I know I can do almost everything from home, but I have to get everything done first to be done from home. But it's a fair question. But, for the audience that doesn't know this, because, at least I'm being vulnerable and open to like share one of these stories. What did you see that I didn't see in the moment when we were at that lovely wedding? Shout out to Jazzy J for the music and also for getting married. I see you.
Jazzy J Productions. Check out the music, man. Buy and get your instrumental. Support Black.
He said it all.
I was actually going to touch on that.
Yeah.
Good point. A lot of times it's hard to read signs. A lot of times you just can't. And this is the thing about me. I'm a very clear and precise person.
Yeah.
Like I'm a more precision type of individual. That's why sometimes go a little the extra length just to explain something so we're fully clear.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, and it's, I guess, just a female thing, or some females, is they have this thing where they think you should know. A lot of times you don't. Well, you should know this is what I wanted to eat. No, I asked you what you want to eat. You said you don't know. We're not psychic, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know what you heard. I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've seen in movies. But men are not psychic.
No.
If anything, we're more logical. Women are more emotional, if anything. Now, so if you're sitting there and you don't really look interested, sometimes it kind of puts you in a position where it's like, okay, I want to go say something, but I don't. She might be interested, but right now she just looks like she doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
She might just want to be, taking in the scenery. I don't want to disturb, I don't want to be that guy. Now, for the rest of the night, they're just awkward. Every time you look at each other, it's just because, so sometimes it's just difficult. So it's not always just, oh, guys don't want to talk to me, or guys don't know how to speak to me. Sometimes you just really don't know. It's hard to read signs. And one of the other things I believe in, and a lot of women actually different like that, especially in the islands. Most likely, especially in the islands, if a girl like you, she tells you, like, type of thing. Like, most women aren't afraid to say or let you know, give you yes. Now, the thing is, most women won't do that. So there's always times where you might be friends with a female and she might like you, or you might have feelings for her, but she'll never show you that. She wants you to take the lead. But there's no signs, so it's just like you don't. And sometimes something just never materializes. Now, at the wedding, I would say she looked like she was just there chilling, and that was about it. I actually thought maybe she'd came with somebody. Oh, there's no one else sitting here. Whatever. So, but she didn't really show too much interest. Yeah. But after a while, she kind of like made it clear.
But where was that clear part? Because that's where I'm oblivious. Because I know
I think when we're about to go dance or whatever.
Yeah.
And because if she wasn't interested, she would have never wanted to dance with someone. And there's another good example. Like you see it whenever you go to clubs or whatever. You see sometimes girls just be there, just going off and stuff. Yeah. And one of the things is in like fetes or stuff like that. Yeah. You usually go see someone dance, you only dance with them a lot of times. Sometimes they just want to dance. They don't want somebody behind them type of thing. Yeah. I never try that. I've learned from my club that you never approach from behind. You always approach either from the side or, more importantly, from the front. And then, like, for instance, if the girls are in like a circle group, you always wait for like the one girl to have like her body language facing away from the group. That means then like that's an appropriate sign to like go approach the group, that type of stuff. And then there's some girls like I've seen in person, I've seen on videos where a girl just be dancing, someone just go behind her dance, and then just continue. Yeah. So it's just like, for me, it's just go with whatever it is. If she turn around, she doesn't want to dance, don't get upset, throw your hands at her. I think that's the thing. I think what guys, and this goes back to what I was saying before. Oh, before I go on. Yeah, no go. Also, too. Yeah. It would be sometimes things can go a little bit smoother if your reaction is a little bit more respectful. Yes. And then sometimes you won't get that overly aggressive. Like you might be the guy might feel a little, small, or whatever, but you might just, take the L and just go try and dance with someone else. Oh, that's what I'm saying. And this is where I'm going to bring it back to the parents. The parents need to teach men and young boys how to handle their emotions in that situation. Yes. I think in a lot of sports, for instance, like when you see like you lose a game, what's the reaction? Everyone collapses or everyone freaks out. You release an amount of anger to show that like you cared. So for in this case, you're like, okay, like I got my juice, whatever, and I see the girl over here. You gave me the pep talk. Okay, like I go over there, approach, and she's like, I'm not interested. What the hell, man? I spent 3 hours. I built this up all in my head. Let's come over there, go talk to you, and you project me. Like that's how obviously every guy's gonna react with that intensity, or as you said, the energy. Like there's one guy actually right now, and I was watching About Preach, and it was the guy who was actually on Fresh and Fit. I forget his name, but this girl just grew up around men. And she, unfortunately, I'll probably say, demasculized this one guy here. And this guy just didn't know how to take, like, rejection or L or being one-upped or, being teased by a woman. And she was fine. And she's trying to say that she ain't no alpha male, but the way how she carried herself in this episode, it was hilarious. I gotta show you after, because it was hilarious. But then afterwards, he's going with his girlfriend after the Fresh and Fit podcast, everything else. And there's other guys in there trying to be the player stuff. And just so you know, we're not giving, like, dating advice. We're not trying to be that red pill, blue pill stuff. We're just trying to teach people to just be growth. Yeah, I know. He's probably going to cut this part out. But if he doesn't, he keeps it in. All right. But the main point of the whole thing was just, like, he's not carrying himself with, like, accountability, that type of stuff. And he's just letting his emotions get out of hand. Let your emotions feel through. Like, okay, you got rejected. Okay, let that pass through. Rejection doesn't define you, Yeah, it happens. It happens. It's part of the moment. But the way how you're just yelling at the girl, and then this is the funny thing in the episode, or the little clip that was going viral. The girl wasn't standing for all this, like, talk, that the guy's saying, like, you this and that. Literally grabs her fit hat, throws it. And he lost it even more. It was nice. I gotta definitely show you that episode. But stuff like that too. I'll show you the clip. I know it won't have the full context of the episode, but you'll get the point of it. But
either way, I know what the fans are saying. I can hear them even through the screens. They're asking for the next scene. So what ends up happening is Mr. Chocolate sees that Lottie's in the scene, or that she's there. That girl, put her there, because she said something out loud, and everyone else was panicking because Mr. Chocolate, has his own particular thing. And just for clarification, Mr. Chocolate for me is played by, drumroll please, no drumroll needed, Donald Glover. So this is the second episode. So in the first episode, way back with the Teddy Perkins episode, now hear me out. This is the metaphor I'm hearing. Teddy. Yeah. Donald was playing.
That was one of my favorite episodes, by the way.
And this one's also one of my favorite episodes because Donald tackles two very iconic black people that, one sacrificing, I guess, their blackness in order for fame, and the other one doubling down on blackness, but almost like commercializing it for his benefit. So the first person was Teddy Perkins being Michael Jackson, and in this case here, Mr. Chocolate being Tyler Perry here. Creating all those movies, going all through all our black stereotypes, and just basically creating a factory. And my thing is, I appreciate good storytelling. That's why I appreciate good comedians. That's why I appreciate good television shows. That's why I appreciate good movies. And I'm not saying Tyler Perry hasn't had some bangers, but how many duds has he had?
Well, first of all, I'll say I'm not the biggest Tyler Perry fan.
No, that's fair.
No, I shouldn't say that. I'm not the biggest Medea fan.
Fair. Understandable.
Yeah. Almost everything I've ever watched from him is not a Medea anything. I just don't really find it funny. Yeah. And to each his own. Not everyone's going to think everything's funny. So people are going to be like, oh, how could you not? Yeah. You might think something is funny. I might think something's funny that you don't. It doesn't matter. It's whatever. I 1,000,000% respect everything he's done for community and film, for colored folks, for black people, to not only becoming a billionaire. To me, a billionaire is not even a great thing. The great thing for me is the fact that he not only owns his own studio. Correct. Well, how much is it? Like 300 and whatever acres of land. And it's not just land. A lot of it is land that people plantation. So it's one of those things where you go, wow, this guy did all that, and he mainly did it mostly him. Now there's times where I'm just like, yeah, he could have probably got someone to help him rate this part. Yeah. But you know what? He kind of took the Master P approach. Just keep going. Just keep running. Just keep running.
Repetition.
You might put 100 out, and maybe only 5 might hit. But the 5 that might hit will probably help pull the others up, type of thing. And I think that's basically what he did. He wrote, visualized, acted, did all the parts, and that's the only thing I would probably give him the most props for as far as the Medea goes. Yeah. When you look at a guy like Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Or another Professor too, he plays Buddy. Then he's the professor. Then he's the old lady. It's difficult playing all those parts, especially remembering all those lines and putting it all together. You have to be a visionary to really see that. And he's done a lot of that, so I'll give him definitely props for that. Yeah. Has he had a lot of hits? Yes. Has he had a lot of stuff that wasn't great? No. Yes, he has. But the good thing is he's also giving a lot of work to people who haven't been seen in a while. We'll give him a chance. Or probably get paid just due. So always respect Tyler.
He's creating opportunities, but my thing is I
think he was Spike Lee on a bigger level.
That's actually a really good comparison.
I would probably say that.
And I think he was more marketable because I think what's the key word that we're looking for is being family friendly.
Yes. You see him, you knew him.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, especially when you're trying to reach a wider audience, for instance, to give more opportunities. Yes. Because if you're, for instance, a minority that does get an opportunity through this route, for instance, or a child star, you get part of the cycle. But then this is once again goes back to what you're saying about being a parent, for instance. And this is actually one of the themes that we saw was when Lottie now was on screen, it was a different story. Yeah. And for instance, Van looking for Lottie, she switched from being a woman trying to explore herself. Is this something maybe that I want to do to a full mother? I want my child back. And one of the things, and we've seen this unfortunately, is let's say Van was that mother that tried to be, an actress. She failed. She had Lottie. Now she's using Lottie as a vehicle. And this is the thing that I don't like. And this is the other side of the Tyler Perry thing that I was going to maybe touch on is seeing the exploitation of young minority kids in movies, in TV shows, signing these contracts where parents get to take a portion of the money and the kid's now basically like a slave having to perform, and they're granted this gift, they're granted this opportunity of luxury, but their childhood's taken away essentially. Because this is just, the child then becomes a vehicle for the parent to make money for something that was a failed dream that the parent was able to execute.
But there's a double side to that, though. That also could be an opportunity to give your kid a childhood you didn't have, or a future you didn't have. Yeah. That's something that could probably turn into generational wealth type of thing. So it's when do you know, or where do you draw the line, or where do you say, yeah, I probably shouldn't do this type of thing. For me, that's a difficult call.
No, for sure. There's a recent example. She was on Trevor Noah recently because she wrote a book actually about one of the negative situations that I'm kind of thinking of. I think her name was Jeanette McCarty. I think I've definitely mispronounced her name, but people know her that grew up on Nickelodeon. She was Sam on iCarly, for instance, and essentially just with how Nickelodeon was ran back there. Yeah. There was some questionable director situations. I just highly recommend you guys. Like, I know it's a non-black book, I'll probably say, but I think it's a very insightful book that does a very good job of painting that picture of being a young child, for instance, and growing up with a parent that, in my opinion at least, was forcing their child to work in a field that maybe they didn't want to work into. And I think it was just a very insightful book. The way my explanation is doing is probably not doing it all the justice in the world, but you check out for that Trevor Noah interview, Jeanette McCarthy, I think was her name, or look up her book. I don't want to pronounce the name of the book, but I'll get Paris to put in the links. I do think it's a really good book that people should go look out for and go discuss. But at this point of the episode, bringing it back to Atlanta, Van can't find Lottie, but she did find that guy that was the studio guy, whatchamacallit, but this guy was different. Like, her answer to this guy was different than the first one.
Yeah.
In this case, and then I think we had the hair salon when she was getting her hair redone, and then afterwards she met the grandma, and then basically at this point she wanted to find Mr. Chocolate. And thanks to Grandma having the gun and shooting the guard, she was able to get up into the room where Mr. Chocolate is, where we finally see the creation, the masterpiece of how Mr. Chocolate comes up with all these great ideas.
Yeah.
And we definitely just see him there, just almost lost in the process. Like, almost just like, I have to create. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, just, I'm going to create this stuff. And people aren't questioning it.
Yeah, sometimes it's just how it is. I mean, look at Paperboy. Paperboy created a lot of stuff in his younger days and kind of like came back to haunt him type of thing.
Yeah.
That was another very up to date, very serious, and very insightful into like hip hop, especially like drill rap and all that type of stuff. It's almost now the word that's becoming very popular in hip hop is Rico.
Really? What's that word mean?
Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way: the feds are coming.
Oof.
So yeah, that's
hot damn.
Yeah. Once you don't want to get them involved. Once they're involved, it's
serious.
It's not even serious. It's
okay.
Yeah. So right now there's about 2 or 3 rappers up on the RICO charges type of thing.
Damn.
And when you're in that type of situation, it's you're denied bail. Stuff is drawn out. You're talking about months. You're talking about years before you can get to.
And we're talking about artists here that don't know how to maybe have that financial education to manage that money. So then,
no, it doesn't even matter at that point, because when you're in jail that long, everything's frozen type of thing. A lot of times you might go to the bank and you can't even buy a cheeseburger type of thing. Like, literally, yeah. Like, if you know anything about the Irv Gotti murdering.
No, I haven't heard about it.
Well, basically one of his friends got caught up in some stuff, and they tried to get him and the whole record label off the board type of thing. So so you're talking about guys who sold millions and millions of dollars in records. They own their stuff, so it's not even like to say.
They have their masters.
They have their masters. They have everything. You're talking about Ja Rule. Think about how many hit records Ja Rule has. Irv Gotti produced, co-produced, whatever, own, whatever, all that stuff. Yeah. Now you think about all the money that those guys have made and was making. And then all of a sudden it's like, you can't buy nothing because, by the way, they have you on some charges or whatever. Now, the good thing is they beat the case. Yeah. But for that very moment, it was pretty scary. They kind of basically put them out of business. Oh, wow. Because that's literally what happens. Like, they freeze everything. And until they get you, and even when they get you, sometimes you clear or whatever, they still type of hold on to your stuff. Sometimes you don't even get certain things back. Yeah. So right now there's a Young Tug, Gunna, and I believe someone else is kind of caught up in that racketeering type of So when it comes to that, man, it's serious. And apparently there's another rapper, battle rapper, I believe, bring up on some charges like that. So when they come with that stuff, man, they just a lot of times you might not even know anything. It's just out of left field. You're the main guy because they know more than likely you're the guy that everyone's following. You're the guy that's feeding everyone. So you take the main guy out, and everything else kind of like what happens with the civil rights. Oh, like the civil rights, I believe, and there were some people making this like debate or argument, if you want to call it. Did Malcolm and Martin kind of aid the destruction of the civil rights? Because it's like things were being built up great. A lot of progress and stuff was being like completed, but a lot of times too, when you have that one person or a few people that's pushing a little bit too much or too fast or something, kind of bringing too much light, getting too much attention, kind of making too much progress. Yeah. It's like you definitely become a target. And then once you become a target kind of thing, and then you don't have a backup plan, you remove that person from off the board, and everyone's just like, wait. Yeah. And whatever charges they may give that person or something someone else in the group might do, kind of like everyone falls into that thing. So now it's just like everyone's a criminal. The Black Panthers, if one person gets charged with something, they kind of charge everyone. It's just a big broad brush. yep, everyone in here is a terrorist or a national threat to society.
Yeah, it's
so
like
the group is definitely forced to break up completely.
yeah, because you don't like my analogy of how I'm envisioning this is like there's a ceiling. And the ceiling can move in this case. Not like I know a lot of people usually hear ceiling, oh, it doesn't move. In this case, the ceiling was moving, but there's a few people that broke through the ceiling.
Yeah.
And they're ahead.
And they're making too much.
They're making too much noise, or they're in this, I'll say, this unknown space. Too much.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. Like, I know a lot of us want to, like, for instance, like, you know, when I first was trying to do podcasting, I was trying to skip a couple steps. But the reality was, like, you got to take it step by step, you know.
Yeah. And it's not like those guys did anything wrong. It's just that
sometimes
they were making so much progress and doing so much that after a point, whoever opposes they have, it's just like, okay, this is a lot more than I thought. Because a lot of times how those things start out is people don't really take them seriously. Oh, no one's going to listen to that guy.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard the guy who no one really wanted to listen to?
And I can think of a few.
Yeah, and then he just comes up to be like the biggest thing ever. Like Drake, for instance.
Yeah.
When he first started rapping, no one really took him serious.
Same thing probably with The Weeknd too.
I'm not fully sure of his story, but probably, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, he's okay. Even, who was it? Actually, I think Chief Prince even said that. Well, first, like when he heard his music or something, he wasn't really interested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then his son said the keyword was buzz. Because that's how you know if someone really has a potential.
Yeah.
Like if that person has a buzz, you're like, okay, so that means whatever he's saying is connecting to people all over. So if he really has a buzz, okay, let's check him out.
Mm-hmm.
Sign them, and then what do you know? You become like one of the greatest top. You know, you just never know sometimes.
What was it? 50 billion, I think, streaming on Spotify.
Something.
He got his logo on Barcelona for El Clasico that they ended up losing.
Don't talk about that.
I'm sorry, man. You're wearing our stuff, okay? All right. I know what team.
It's still my team, man.
Fair enough. And
I don't know why they did that. Should've.
And then apparently, what your partner was telling me, and actually, I saw it actually on Facebook. Apparently, like he's gonna like be giving away free chicken. Like, is he the sandwich guy from Atlanta now? He's like, yo, eat this chicken.
Chicken? What? Yeah. What's with the chicken?
I don't know, man. If you're a viewer looking to the chicken thing, it's a
He's
drama.
giving chicken for his birthday. What is that about? Anyways,
It's Drake, bro. So
enough of that.
I'll ask you a good question. Which episode character do you think Donald played better? Do you think he played Mr. Chocolate better or Teddy Perkins better for
Definitely
you?
Teddy.
Teddy?
100% Teddy, man.
Do you think it was more important to play Teddy? Like, do you think Mr. Chocolate gets? Do you think Mr. Chocolate is hurt by the fact that we saw Teddy Perkins play before? Like, let's say Mr. Chocolate was played first, and then we saw Teddy Perkins.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Definitely Teddy, 100%.
Fair.
Teddy is one of those, and I think they got the right person to play alongside him.
Mm-hmm. Darius,
yeah.
Keith Stanfield, self-taught.
Yeah, he's a brilliant actor.
Oh yeah.
He's a little weird with some things in like real life, as far as like, you know.
No, he's a brilliant mind. Like, you know what? I'll say he's one of those guys, to go back to my metaphor, breaking through the ceiling. He broke through whatever ceiling he saw in his own life, and I think he's a little bit ahead of his time.
Yeah, some certain things you need to chill out with, like, you know, so back and forth with him and like Charlemagne and stuff, and like, you know, showing him like, gun and camera and stuff like that. And it's just like, bro, what do you want? Like, what are you doing? Like,
Once again,
stuff like that.
Once again, he's a little bit ahead of his time.
No. There's no excuse for things like that, man. That's the type of stuff that gets you in Ricos.
Okay. You know what? And he gave me the explanation for it. I ain't gonna question it, but yo, the Keith Stanfield, you still one of my mentors.
Listen, if you want to rob somebody,
yeah,
and you're gonna talk about it, they're gonna look into it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they might know for a while. They might know maybe people in your crew sell stuff.
Yeah.
They might know people in your crew do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they know when they come in and get you right away, or they leave you.
Mm-hmm.
You get bigger and bigger, more problems.
Yeah.
Now when we come, we're taking everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a Rico is.
Okay.
So the problem is a lot of guys, and this is where the problem is with the internet, as far as like free speech and stuff like that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Free speech would be great, but where's the cap? Where do you stop it?
Yeah,
because someone like Kanye West, not defending him, love Kanye West, however, he says a lot of stuff sometimes with
platforms,
and it's just like, hey man, listen, you gotta chill out.
Yeah.
Some people have to be around him, have to be accountable and speak to him like, hey man, you gotta stop. But then again, it's difficult to argue with a guy like that because he's very.
I understand the duality because, like, as a creator, you don't want to have limits. You want to push your limits. You want to see what your limits are. But and I agree, there are limits too.
There are limits. No matter who you are, there are limits. Now the thing is, he may say something, and he might not be able to do an interview here. This network may take him off. Like for instance, he did Drink Champions episode a few days ago, and within 2 or 4 hours or whatever, it was taken off. Over 900,000 views in like 2 hours.
Yeah,
because he has that kind of effect. Now a lot of things he was saying was definitely negative and not okay.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, he said a lot of great things after, but it doesn't really matter. The bad stuff kind of overshadowed whatever good he said.
Yeah.
Now, That's taken off, no problem. Taking off this, taking off that. And some people may say, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But you can look up fight compilation videos with like 60 million views, 100 million views.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to pull up a video of someone waving a gun talking about to kill this person. So when is it okay for people to speak on how they feel? Doesn't matter if they're right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that something that's easily removed? No problem, no question. It's gone like that. A few hours. But this is the type of stuff that's going viral. This is what the algorithm is pushing to people to view.
Well, the algorithm pushes hatred, and that's unfortunately the thing, because hatred will keep you onto these devices longer. But the other thing
that's the problem.
It is part of the problem, because once again, people make money through clicks. But the thing that and the reason like I've kind of changed my like focus on this is because I'm trying to, how do I word it correctly? Do you think creators go in and educate themselves first, or do you think they just create and then they learn the rules as they go?
It's both.
I feel it's more that they just create, because I think there's like a childlike innocence where it's like, I'm just gonna make this thing, and I don't know that there's rules around this, but I made this thing, and that's all that matters to me. Because I feel like there's a lot of young, whatever the new platform is, TikTok, Discord, Twitch, YouTube. These kids are blowing up on these platforms retrospectively, and they're just doing their thing. And then like the other thing that they don't see, for instance, that I think as they gain the experience as being creators, is that like, okay, like burnout, for instance, am I overworking myself? Like, will people remember? Like, I went to a stand-up comedian, his name's Uncle Roger, last night, and the one thing that I enjoyed about the performance was like he acknowledged it. Like he went to therapy for this situation where like basically like he's worried about, will they remember him if he stops making a video? Like, for instance, we took a little bit of a break here, doing this stuff, to be honest, because things happen. But will they remember us? Or, will the way how you set up all these episodes, just play out and people will not even see that stuff? But that's just being honest, a little bit of, pulling the curtain back and such.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it depends on what you want from it. Are you an artist, or are you a creator because you like what you do? Mm-hmm. And something you just want to share and also learn by communicating, exchanging ideas and information with people? Or do you just want to be famous? Do you want to be remembered? For me, it's not so much about remember. Mm-hmm. It's more of just, it's something I like, it's something I do.
Yeah. I don't want to create something that I love. Like I like the conversations we're having. I'm not gonna say I love it, because my thing is like I don't want to share all that love thing. Like I'm not saying the world doesn't deserve to see that love. It's just that, for instance, that you need to keep some stuff for yourself.
Some stuff has to be for you. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes some people overshare.
Yeah.
And that's what 2020 kind of revealed. A lot of people said certain things, and it's just like, wait a minute, this is how you really feel.
Yeah. 2020.
A lot of people expose themselves. A lot of people snitch on themselves in 2020, because sometimes you just have to know when to shut up. Mm-hmm. You have to know when you are an ally, when you are not. It is. I think the saying is, it's not enough just to not be racist. Mm-hmm. Because if you see me getting abused right there and you don't say anything, it doesn't mean that you're racist. It just means that you're not an ally. Mm-hmm. It's just that and there's nothing but ally. It's just you're not a good human being. Well, when you see something wrong has happened, you should say something. Again, like we said last night. Yeah. Most people, they talk about the reaction, not their action. Mm-hmm. So I get beat up right there. You don't say anything. But when I react and I do something, then you say, oh, he shouldn't have done that. Or you wait till the person's gone and you go, yeah, I didn't like what he did there. Well, why didn't you say something then? Yeah. So a lot of people kind of expose themselves. There are a lot of friends who I stopped talking to. Mm-hmm. Or people I stopped talking to, because it's just like, oh, this is how you really feel. I mean, if you're trying to debate what happened on camera for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, I don't think I should be talking to you. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're ignorant, maybe you're not. So if we try to have a conversation and we just can't see eye to eye, that's cool. I don't hate you. I don't have a problem with you, but we just can't be what we were.
You need to come up with a conclusion for that first before we can have a conversation.
That's how you truly feel. Because if it happened to me, you're not going to do anything different than what you just said. And that's just what it is. So a lot of people say things just for optics, and that was the problem. Yeah. You had a lot of companies going, oh, yeah, we'll give you $10 million to this black fund support. No, we don't need $10 million. We need opportunity. Mm-hmm. The whole point of poverty is lack of opportunity. Yes. If people had ways to get money legally and live and be happy, no one would be committing crimes. No one would. No one would. So stop complaining about, it's the impoverished neighborhood. Well, exactly. It's impoverished. So don't give the people money. Give them opportunity so that they can feed their family and their friends, so they don't have to risk their lives to do things to get money. Yeah. And that's the whole point of why certain neighborhoods are the way they are. Mm-hmm. Like people with nice neighborhoods, what they have? Jobs.
They got jobs. They got the financial advisor that tells them to do the things that they need to do, to have the money reinvested.
So it's not that we don't know. Yeah. It's like we pretend that we don't know. Oh, there's a problem there. Okay, stop working on the problem. Mm-hmm. Work on the solution. You know what it is. I mean, you have billions of dollars to go explore space. How about we fix what's right here? You know what I mean?
I think one of the most common things with humans, especially during that 2020, was like running away from our problems. But the thing that I like, and I feel it again. So we're back, for at least for my life. Yeah. I feel back in that go go go. Like if you ever done laser tag, it's in that go 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 mentality. Like that's how life is again. No, it wasn't. For that, hear me out. For 2020, I felt the world finally, and I'm not sure we're ever going to experience it again.
Yes.
But it slowed down for a second.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah, it slowed down for a second, and for those people that took the advantage of that second, where they were able to self-reflect, not expose themselves as you said, but actually take the time to self-reflect and say, what do I want to do with my life?
Yes.
I hope that they're on a path now where they're able to do stuff correct.
Yeah.
Because usually, and most people know this in life, you don't get that second.
Yes.
You don't get that second to take a, okay, what do I want to do? Most of the times it's go, 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 and if you luck out, it's kind of like the game Plinko, man, like on, whatchamacallit, Price is Right. Like where you just drop the puck, you enter in life, you're like, boom, 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 like you don't even really know what happened.
Yeah, but I think it's accelerated.
Oh yeah, no, I know it's accelerated, that's why I went boom, 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 boom. But like the point is, it's just like, people, if they were smart and if they were self-aware, or if they had the right people around them and they saw that what people were doing, where they were either self-reflecting, regardless of position, if you were rich or poor, and figuring out what you wanted to do now with your life, they've been able to recorrect. And for the first time, while I was going boom, 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 do I go left or right? Left? Okay, I'm going left. Or right? We go right.
Yeah.
That was that split second. And normally in life, call it abnormal, we don't get that opportunity unless we create it. And a lot of people don't know how to make that.
Yes. There you go. Create. Because not that we don't have the opportunity to, but we just get so caught up in, I gotta go to work, I gotta pay this bill, I gotta do this, I gotta fix that, or whatever.
Yo, don't we have soccer after this?
It's like you get so caught up in what you have to do, and that's the problem with the whole word time. Because time isn't an actual thing.
It's a man-made thing.
It's a man-made thing. It's
woman-made thing.
Just for you to be or have something in a specific time so we can all meet or get together, whatever. Time isn't an actual real thing. Problem is we focus so much on the time that we're controlled by it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have to get up this time, I have to be here at this time, and it's just like you're just in this cycle, this hamster thing. And it's like we can take time to just take a second to breathe and reevaluate and stuff, but we just don't, because especially in North American life, like it's difficult.
Yes, it does.
For like Caribbean, when you understand how the Caribbean is and how it can be, and then you come here or whatever, or you know the differences, and you go.
It's so stressful.
You notice it, but most people who are born here or grew up in the culture or whatever, or don't want anything else outside of it. They don't understand it.
Well, that's the importance of why you see a lot of people doing traveling now. Yeah. I think people are traveling to explore themselves, to understand themselves. And once again, this is just me doing my thing. I tie it back to
that doesn't always help them. Because no. Here's why.
Okay.
Most people, when they travel, which is, again, understandable at some point, when they travel, they go to resorts.
Okay.
When you go to resorts,
you're not getting the culture, yeah.
You just go with people who just came for the same thing.
Yeah.
Hang around the pool, you get some free drinks, and literally all you did.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't really get to learn a whole lot. Like, for instance, we watch a lot of vloggers to see, like, certain parts and whatever, and that's how you experience them. That's how you understand differences. That's how you understand people.
Yeah. I wonder if vlogger, and this is a question maybe for another day to ask, or to get an answer from you, but I wonder if vloggers are self-aware of where the camera is sometimes. And, like, you know, a natural thought that they would say, if they were truly alone, would they say it if the camera was there? Like, I'm starting to notice that, too. It was like, okay, like, before, like, I do this, are you going to say the truth? Or, like, you know, like, versus, like, when we have these here, even if they're not even in the room, are we still going to be as honest? Like, you know, the cameras are right there.
Some people are not.
That's true. I think some people will adapt to that and such.
Yeah, there's definitely some people who put on for the camera, but most of the times you can tell. Yeah, most of the times you can tell. It's just like, a lot of times people put on for the camera, but you can tell when they're being honest. A lot of times you can tell when it's just flowing. You know? There's some people who prep for that stuff, so it doesn't matter if the camera's on or off. They're performers.
Yeah.